John Landau, his manager, and he had a discussion while they were mixing the record, which is just placing the songs in the right sounds in the right perspective. And John said, well, you know, Bruce, he said, I don't think we're done. I think we need one more song. And he said, it ought to be a single. It ought to be our first single. And what it ought to do is it ought to tell people where you're at right now. And Bruce, this was pretty strong words coming from a manager-producer. And Bruce responded equally strongly by saying that since he had written 70 songs, maybe John Landau would like to try writing one. John said, well, you know, I can't do that, but I think I got a right to speak my mind. And this is very indicative of the creative process when these guys make a record. Not the way everybody else does, but when these guys do, there's this argument that goes on. And as Bruce said, when it works, nobody wins and nobody loses, just the truth comes out. Well, they went into the studio and mixed that evening, and without rancor, the argument was over, and Bruce went back to his hotel room where he was staying cooped up, feeling fairly miserable and locked up, picked up his guitar and began to sing a song that he had been thinking about, a little melody he'd been thinking about, and some words he had kind of prepared, and he put them together for the first time, and he sang, I get up in the morning. And he thought to himself, well, I don't get up in the morning, what do I do? He said, well, I get up in the evening. And how do I feel about this? Well, just tired and bored with myself. And then he kind of got through the first verse of this song. And he said, then it was as though his heart spoke through his mouth without passing through his brain. And he sang the chorus of the song, which is, this gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark, which is about just itching for action, which is actually another line in the song. And basically came out with a song that, when you hear it, there's a certain exuberance and joy to it. But if you really listen to the lyrics of this song, and it's the biggest hit single he ever had, he gave John Landau exactly what he wanted. But he also gave him not what he was feeling in this period of time, but at that moment, I want out of this. But also, the only way out of it is to go deeper in. And came up with what for me is, with the exception of the track Born in the USA, I guess the most exciting piece of music he'd ever done. Out of sheer frustration and anger and confusion and dire necessity.
So at some point in the early 80s, you have a falling out with Bruce. He calls you up and says, let's meet and get past this. And you reconcile. And then sometime later, as you would do throughout your lives, you would play each other some of your new music and get a reaction from the other. And so in your book, you write that he played you a song called Dancing in the Dark that was going to be on the record. And then No Surrender, which he said would be an outtake for a B-side. And your reaction was, which, by the way, I don't think is a crazy reaction. In the moment, you said, man, I said, you got it backwards. Throw that dancing thing in the trash and not only put No Surrender on the record, but open with it. In fact, make it the damn title, No Retreat, No Surrender. And then you keep, I'm going to just read at length from this because it's so great. You write, to me, Dancing in the Dark had the potential to destroy his long fought for credibility. You say, now he was going to release what could easily be interpreted as a disco song to blatantly try and get a hit. What were you thinking when you said that? What was the reaction? And were you incorrect?
I was very clear about what I was thinking. I said I was thinking exactly what I said. And fortunately, this is one of those times that I was very glad that he did not take my advice.
Well, actually, it gets better. My favorite line in this passage, he not only put it on the album, but released it as the first single, and not only released it as the first single, but filmed a stupid video, which I found that to be just awesome.
Well,
so how did he get away with that? How come he wasn't drawn up as a disco hack?
I'm telling you, it was a concern, and I didn't realize how bulletproof he was at that point. I think the credibility was such.
Is that what it was? You think he was bulletproof?
Yeah, no doubt about it. With that video, are you kidding me? He had to be bulletproof to survive that.
Isn't that the video that launched Courtney Cox's career?
Yeah, yes, and almost ended his. No, I'm kidding.
So, I didn't love that. So I was in high school. That song has grown on me, and that song in concert is really quite good.
No, we kill it in concert. We really, it's a whole different thing in concert.
When you play that in concert, do you ever think to yourself, I told Bruce to throw this in the trash?
No. I just decided that we're going to do a rock version of it live.
You've come along.
Yeah, but
right.
But it was just a funny moment, and obviously I'm glad I'm glad cooler heads prevailed.
Yeah, it went on to sell, 20 million copies or something.
Oh, yeah. It paid rent for a while. And yeah. But he did put No Surrender on the record. So that was, half a victory anyway.
And that is an incredibly excellent song as well.
And on Born in the USA, we kind of took it pretty much to where we did this record, almost, in the sense that if you wanted to sing something again, we played it again, for the ones that I was there for, which is like 9 out of the 12 or so.
Born in the USA, we played most of the stuff live. We did go back and, fix things if they needed fixed. And I think I did go back and sing most of the vocals again, with the exception of the title cut itself, Born in the USA, which is really like this record in that it was a completely live experience.
Yeah, and then then you worked a couple more years on the other 3 songs. But
thanks for reminding me, my friend. Of course, the songs were Dancing in the Dark.
I give you that. I gotta give you that. I was glad you disagreed with me when I said, take that thing off the record.
I got you on that one.
And put on No Surrender instead.
Well, that was a good idea. You were half right.